Apagando las luces. I'm on fire.
So Sombra's been out for approximately a month, give or take a few days. Take probably more than give. And what is really fascinating about Sombra is that the initial excitement that people felt has almost completely died down. Even in quick play. I mean, you do see her, but I'd argue that all the older heroes are much more popular and much more common. And I haven't done competitive this season yet. But the point I'm trying to make is that even more so than Anna, the hype and the excitement towards Sombra died down really quickly. I think there are a number of reasons for this. It's not just that she has a high skill cap. I have about 10 hours plus under my belt now. I'm trying to train myself to get good with her. But she has some fundamental problems. I have suggestions so as to improve her. But even so, I think there are just issues with her. Let's just go into the issues first off. Why she needs improvements. Blizzard attempted to create a very complex character that would require complex thought and strategy in all manner of different things. And they tried to effectively weave into her all manner of abilities. Very interesting. Probably the most interesting character in the game, but you're left with this strange thought, Whither or Sombra, what is going on with her? What do you want to do with her? I can't claim to be really good with her. I think I'm above average now, but that might not say much. As for her abilities, all of her abilities need tweaks, with the exception of her ult, I think. Number one, the hack. The hack is incredibly powerful, but it loses utility in situations where you take a little bit of damage. Some people suggest that the hack should just go through without any damage. I don't think that should be the case. I mean, you should be able to interrupt it. Cutting a second off of the hack would be my first suggestion. It takes about 2 seconds now. 1 second hack gives you a chance to surprise them and hack them efficiently. And, if they catch you on time, if they're quick on their feet, then yeah, they can interrupt it. Much more reasonable. 1 second hack. I don't think the health packs are an issue. I think that's fine. The translocator is an issue. And frankly, it's just not enough time. At least 3 more seconds, although I would say, so it's 15 seconds, 18 seconds. I think 20 seconds would be a lot better. Oftentimes you're about to, do something and you have to teleport out. And why do you have to do that? Well, anyone's played Sombra. If you're being surrounded by 3 or 4 enemies, if you stay in there, you're going to die. So you have to use your transporter to get out of there. Now, there's another problem with her, and that is the problem of the stealth. Now, I'm not suggesting that you should be able to just attack people right out of stealth. That would be a bit overpowered. But I think stealth should have a somewhat longer duration of 2 seconds, and possibly an even greater speed increase. All of the suggestions I'm making, of course, are utility suggestions. My perception of Sombra by now is that whether Blizzard intended it or not, Sombra has become a utility offensive character. I notice I have not made the suggestion that her damage output should be increased. Why? Because then everyone will be taking her. She has great utility right now. If you can pick enemies off, particularly healers that aren't paying attention. But I think that what she needs now is increases in her utility. I don't think it's really an issue with the damage. I mean, the damage is pitiful. But if you upped her damage too much, maybe you could use a 5-10% increase in damage. It's very difficult to kill people. But the suggestions I'm making, I think, make the most sense if you played her. Translocator lasts longer. The stealth is quicker and lasts longer as well. The hack, above all the hack, you get a second cooldown off of that. And I think you can do a lot more. I mean, she should be a counter. I think Sombra should be a kind of semi or hard counter to characters like Tracer. Now, sometimes you're lucky. You can, if you hack a Tracer, she's dead. She doesn't have a lot of health. She can't, blink out of there. But I mean, given how quickly she moves, it's very difficult. Giving you a second time as opposed to 2 could be really effective. Same thing with Mei. Sombra should be a character that just disables enemies consistently. And only enemies who are quick on their feet should be able to react accordingly and deal with her, in my assessment. Now, there is, of course, the suggestion that keep everything else as it stands and increase her damage significantly, like 25%. I've heard suggestions along those lines. Yeah, you could do that. Um, ideally, you want to have her just taking out the squishies, like support 200 health heroes or less, and not even. I'm not even saying that in an unqualified way, because you obviously, if you attack a McCree, you could run into problems, and I'm certainly not perfect. The other thing about her is that nobody's really figured out what the optimal Sombra playstyle is. I'm trying to figure it out as I go along. I'm trying to figure out what it is I am doing, which health packs to hack. Some maps I have a really good idea already. Other maps, not so much. Other maps I'm just kind of lost. I'm just still trying to figure it out. And I think by now, not enough people have played her extensively to claim that they have a consummate mastery of her. Maybe some people do, to offer a guide or something. I'm certainly not at that stage where I'm competent and confident enough to offer a guide or something. I'm just trying to figure out what to do with her, and those are my suggestions. Minor tweaks to her already existing abilities. But I wouldn't take her into competitive, even if I got 20 or 30 more hours and got really good with her in quick play, because Sombra, as I said, she's sort of utility offense, but she can't figure out what her role is. You're a healer in some sense because you hack health packs. It makes it accessible to your teammates. Really, really great on King of the Hill maps, mind you. Really great. Denying a Reaper who's, wraith forming to a health pack, and, he can't do it because you've hacked it is fantastic. But, you lose real damage. I mean, she does absolutely pitiful damage. I mean, Mercy is a better killer. Mercy kills more quickly and more efficiently than Sombra does. That should give you, several hints. That's really odd. A support that has a better weapon than an offensive character. Maybe she does need a slight increase in damage output. But yeah, and she's also not a healer. So, in competitive, I would think you would just want to not take her. Unless somebody is just absolutely assured of himself that he can do it, he can do the job, he can take people out consistently. I mean, there are ways kind of around it. You really have to work on the tracking with the machine pistol, but the damage is just so pitiful. We're talking 20, 30 bullets to kill people that only the people who are caught most unawares, that is off guard, are susceptible to it. I mean, it works sometimes and sometimes it doesn't, but I don't think she's in a good spot now. Now, a final note, I want to contrast this with someone like Ana, who I recognize as having immediate utility. I mean, I was doing it before it was cool, right? I was playing Ana before it was cool to do so. Recognize the power of the biotic nade. Recognize the power of nano boost before it was nerfed, especially. But the power of Sombra isn't exactly clear. I mean, I've had some nice clutch moments with the EMP, but timing is everything. Some Lucio needs to fuck up and break it down in the EMP, but she's not has terrible damage. She's not really that good at taking people out. She has the opportunist ability. Keep that as it is, but it's not a solution. It's not a band-aid for everything. So, I think Sombra needs serious changes, but the changes themselves will be minor. That is to say, across the board for almost all of her abilities, increases in duration, etc. But as a character, I couldn't, even if I got really good with her, I feel like I wouldn't, if I was an offensive character in competitive, I wouldn't be able to have the damage output to justify using her versus someone else like Soldier or whatever. I think technically she is a better flanker than Tracer is, but she doesn't have the damage output to really take advantage of that. So she can sneak behind better and do some pretty tricky, nasty things. But at the end of the day, it's really hard for her to get kills. I mean, you can see in the video, yeah, it's possible you can do it, but the enemy needs to be low health and totally distracted and not paying attention, and boom, you get a kill, you teleport out. I think that's the way you're supposed to play her, but nobody really knows. Their ideas, their suggestions, but she's really lost for the most part, as I said, her popularity, and I think Blizzard really dropped the ball here in a sense because We spent all these months building up her hype, and what did we end up with? A character that was kind of okay, really interesting, but practically speaking, she will need to be reworked to some degree, and she might need major reworking too. I don't know. At this point in time, I'm trying to play her as much as possible in quick play. I haven't started competitive because I'm waiting for my friend to get their computer all set up, but we shall see. Anyway, my thoughts on Sombra. It's not clear what the hell she's supposed to be doing still, and I think this is a major issue. Whereas Anna was clear she's supposed to heal, right? That's, to me, it was clear to a lot of people in the beginning. Sombra's just like utility, offense, healing packs, denial. Okay, where does she go? My thoughts, lords and ladies. Thanks for tuning in. I will check you out later. Bye bye.